This was the day the Winnipeg Blue Bombers dynasty ended, before it even began. The 109th Grey Cup of the CFL was just recently played, and I wanted to talk about it because the media around this matchup was covering it in all of the wrong ways. Because the Blue Bombers were entering the game as back-to-back Grey Cup winners, and the team just had their most successful regular season of all time, Winnipeg was the favorite to win. However, that didn't happen. Instead, the Toronto Argonauts made history by becoming the CFL's most winningest team, clinching their 18th Grey Cup victory. Many people were shocked by the outcome of the game. I was not one of them. The Blue Bombers hadn't been playing their best football in weeks. Even in the regular season, they looked a little sloppy. They were just consistently playing in very tight games, sometimes pulling away in just the last 2 or 3 minutes. Which isn't to say that teams can't win the ultimate game if they play opponents close. Just look at the Rams last year. However, many media members that cover the CFL were acting as though Winnipeg was this dominant team that couldn't be stopped. Throughout the game, Toronto just outplayed the Blue Bombers in almost every way. Zach Collaros, the Bombers' quarterback, didn't play his best game. Granted, he entered the game with an ankle injury that limited his mobility, but I'm not even sure how much that really would have mattered in this case. The Argos secondary was draped all over the Bombers' wideouts, making throwing lanes hard to come by. Zach completed just 14 passes for 183 yards and no touchdowns in the contest. He also threw an interception to Argos linebacker Mwamba late in the fourth quarter that halted a potential go-ahead drive. The Bombers' coaching was also a little suspect. In the fourth quarter, up 23-17, they dialed up a shot play. The problem? Collaros wasn't the one who threw the ball. Instead, their backup Dakota Prumkop entered the game. Dakota isn't known for his arm, more so his running ability. While I do admit that Zach wasn't having his best game, I don't understand why you would take the CFL's MVP out in the biggest game of the season like that. I also don't really understand why a shot play was needed in that instance anyway. Ultimately, I have to give credit to the Argonauts. They did everything they needed to do to win this game. Their defense played very well. They only gave up 16 points to the Bombers' offense. Their defensive line was really good, getting after Collaros the entire game. They also ran the ball very effectively behind former Blue Bomber Andrew Harris, who averaged 5.5 yards a carry. And that's how we got here, with the Argos upsetting the back-to-back Grey Cup winners and potentially stopping a dynasty in the making. So, in the immortal words of Pat Summerall,
there will be no three-peat.